Welcome to the Big Show podcast. I have a special guest every week, but this week definitely is different. We definitely we're in the same realm right now with the podcast, and we actually decided to, just swap out and really cross brands and collab. This would be a podcast collab. She's definitely phenomenal, and I see the hustle, and I see how she endeavors and perseveres through a lot of stuff. And the brand is really strong. It stuck out to me a lot. I first saw my boys be menacing them on y'all.
Right.
And the first thing that caught me was the colors. And then WaitAGameMinute. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
For sure. So I want you to give everybody just your story and your history and how you even got into podcasting and WaitAGameMinute.
Well, actually, I tell the story so many times, but it never changes. The podcast actually came, one of my friends, which is actually the executive producer, a couple of years ago wanted to do a round table girls talk.
Right.
And
who was the executive producer?
Miss Hall, Miss Go-Getter.
Oh, Miss Go-Getter.
Miss Go-Getter. And she is one of the cast members on the podcast. Okay. Needless to say, it never came to fruition. However, one day I just woke up and I was like, I want to do a podcast. And never really, honestly, thought about it, in depth. Didn't know it was going to be all of this. But anyway, then I contemplated on it, and then I prayed about it. And then I came up with a name one day, and I was like, WaitAGameMinute. And it just stuck. And coincidentally, my last name is Gambrell. And by me working in corrections, they always just call me Gam. So it kind of stuck. So now it's all of it is just it's coming together. Right. So that's how I came up with the name and the podcast. So I'm just taking and running with it.
And what's the meaning behind WaitAGameMinute?
The meaning behind it is basically having unapologetic girl talk every week about different topics. Mostly topics that people in our era may not want to talk about or kind of scared to talk about. So we just unapologetically us. Well, them, because I'm not on it every week. And we just have fun, and however the conversation goes, we don't rehearse anything or anything. It's just we just go.
Right.
We do study the topics. Right. Because we're not getting there just, randomly.
Just say, random facts.
Mm-hmm.
But what is unapologetic to you? What's that mean?
Being yourself. One, being respectful, but in the same sense, not changing who you are. Right. And if you say something, mean what you say. Right. And just not really care what nobody think. Right. And that's basically what it is.
So what kind of topics do y'all really stick around?
We stick around, we talk about entrepreneurship. We talk about everyday topics, everyday life issues, situations. We talk about relationships. We talk about finances, politics, basically anything. Mm-hmm. But I am very selective in who's coming on the show. Right. I really do my research on the person as much as I can before I say yes. And it is a process, for coming on. You just can't hit me up and be like, oh, I want to come on WaitAGameMinute. Yeah. And I'll be like, okay, all right.
Yeah, you gotta be though, because this is you.
It is.
So every person up there is a representative of you.
Correct.
So do you guys really get into music talk?
Honestly, before Boss Up Camp came on, no. But now, for some reason, I'm getting a lot of people hitting me up about music. So it isn't a topic that we're actually scared of by no means. But it is something that initially, no, it wasn't. Right. But we do and will have conversations with people, because for me, it's more finding out who the person is as a person. Right. Find out, okay, ThisisBiggz, but who is Bigz outside of the music industry? That's the thing for me. Right.
And that's super important. So to flip that, what is music to WaitAGameMinute? What is that to you? What does it mean for you?
Music is a lot because, to be honest with you, like, I listen to a lot of gospel and R&B.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the rap now is like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But a lot of the hooks are catchy. So, it's like, okay, all right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, it gets you through a lot.
Yeah.
I've heard some people say get them through tough times. So, whatever it is for you, that's what it is. But for me, it's like, it's soothing, and sometimes like when you're cleaning up, you're jamming, and it's just all around. It's actually a good thing. It isn't all bad. Like sometimes with the rap industry, they have this little stigma of all this craziness going on, but overall, music is where people's soul for so many years.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. So you just pretty much put on a record and according to how you feeling at the moment.
Yep. I mean, you may cry, maybe it may take you back to something, or you be like, oh, dang, he said what? Yeah. But I honestly don't see or I can hear somebody and be like, listen to their whole album.
Right.
I had to put a playlist together.
Do you ever listen to music to alter your mood because you're in a certain mood?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
And how is that transition for you? Like, how do you even go into that mode? Say if you're mad, how do you even go into a mode like, I just need to be happy right now. Let me throw something on. What is that for you?
For me, that's like some Luther, like the old Luther.
Yeah, okay.
Stuff like that. It's like soothing stuff, like
right.
I mean, sometimes like even Otis Redding, like old stuff like that. Like
what about them makes you want to be like, okay, I need to be happy and this is gonna soothe me? And why not go to just smoking or something? Why put that on to alter my mood instead of doing something that you don't really, that's harming you, feel me?
Right. Well, sometimes, you just got to change your narrative and whatever works for you. Mm-hmm. Like for me, sometimes when I'm upset, when I'm feeling kind of low, I may put on gospel. Mm-hmm. And I may put on like the worship gospel. Mm-hmm. And it kind of like alters my mood sometimes because it's like, sometimes you could have like life is going on and you're trying to decompose, and it's like, all right, I done prayed about it, so it's like now I need some type of worship. Mm-hmm. So I may put it on or whatever, and may release myself or whatever, and before I know it, sometimes, not all the time, it has quickly gone away.
Right, that's deep. It's a transfer of energy.
Yeah,
that's
very much so.
So let's talk about how you use music to influence your business.
Well, when the girls come in, I'm rocking. Like, my playlist is like, it's like that to where we be listening and stuff, and they be like, man, I remember this song when my mom was coming up, and I can, and it was like we couldn't wait till we got grown because it was like, but like now it's like those songs sometimes they take you back to when you were coming up, but then sometimes it take you back and you be like, dang, she ain't here no more. Relative is not here anymore. You be like, he's not here. So, but we be jamming. They be playing, they rap and brushing your hair, all that stuff like that, So it's like when, I guess, we want to be up tempo or whatever or prepared. Because normally when we have our podcast, we go out after.
Right.
So we go out for drinks. So, whatever, kicking it. And, you gotta be hyped. So you play that stuff accordingly.
Right.
To get you ready.
Yeah.
So when you going in, you have your drinks or whatever.
So you use music for the camaraderie of your business.
Correct.
That's tough.
Correct.
That's kind of like the centerpiece.
Yeah.
That's why I said we need the centerpiece, something right here. The centerpiece. That's deep. Okay, so now let's talk about your business. What is some of let's get into the infrastructure and maybe let's get into talking about you yeah, I'll cut this off. I'm gonna talk for a second. So we were talking about how to make revenue off of podcasting and how to really build that infrastructure so it can be a cash flow. You know what I mean? And that way you still deliver a service for people in the right, and also be able to make money. So now I kind of want to elaborate on that and just kind of talk about that.
Okay.
So what kind of questions did you have about that?
Well, like I told you, it's like for me, it's like trying to I'm like do my research on finding out how to actually monetize on it, like to figure out the ins and out. What do I need to do first, or how I need to do it? Being that it's just, I'm really learning off the fly, really.
Right.
So it's like, all right, I'm at one point like, and my mind is like constantly moving. So and then by me researching, it's like shit be like crossing over, so I just don't know which way to move first.
Right.
Or how to move.
All right, so what is your platform and your structure built upon? Like Facebook, or is the platform Instagram, or what?
Well, mostly Facebook. Instagram is up and coming. I think we still on the 1,000 with Instagram. For some reason, Instagram is like the hardest for me as WaitAGameMinute. But Facebook and also YouTube.
Okay.
So that's what I'm really leaning towards, because eventually my goal is to come off of Facebook.
Right. Now, monetization. All right, so let's just start with Facebook. Let's dive into YouTube. So monetization off of YouTube, you got to get your watch hours.
Right.
And you have to get, I think it's 4,000 watch hours now?
Yeah.
And you have to have 1,000 subscribers. So once you pass that point, monetization can come into play. And one, you get paid off for the streams, of course.
Okay.
And then you can also put your merch up at that point. Because right now you can't put merch up until you pass that. So those are the two streams of revenue. Also, you can have products in there. Like people will pay you to put their products in the videos. Okay. So that's another stream of income. So that's 3 off the rip just for podcasting. Now you could also go through like Anchor. That's what I try mine's through Anchor. And with the commercials, you get paid every time the commercials and stuff run. So right off the rip, when I started my podcast, I was out of the clear of having debt with the podcast. Right.
I saw that. And, when I first went on Anchor, which I still do, I still changed it to MP3. But it was like 15 cents, 30 cents or whatever. So I was like, I don't know. So I never really, even though I had maybe like 2 or 3 people come at us about it, but I never really followed through it, honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's another way. That's another stream. And then commercials. You can also, like, I throw commercials in my Anchor, and people will pay like for them to run their advertisement. You can run commercials up there, so that's 5 or 6 different ways right there. And just you have to write everything down. Well, most of the stuff is in the actual apps and stuff that you use. So your analytics, you can print it out anytime. But just you got to monitor those things and watch them so you can see what's growing, what's not growing, where is your audience coming from, and it's really identifying who your audience is. Right. And all they're gonna be is the same people that's like y'all. Yeah. So if you like something, I guarantee your audience is probably gonna like it. So now you know who to market to. So now we're getting into running ads and doing actual marketing. So when you're running your ads, like now you can target the people who actually want to buy from you. And that's a hot client. So like it's just like being in the mall. When you're running an ad, you got people walking past the store. That's your I think that's your cold. The cold clientele is the ones that don't even look at the store. They just walking past it. The people who look at it and be like, oh, okay, and they inquire about it. That's just like your warm clientele. Your hot clientele is the people that's coming in and actually buying. Right. So that's how you got to look at it when you running ads, and that definitely brings revenue too. Like you could run an ad on your links and just get people to see it and stream, and you get paid from those streams too, even if you're running ads, and that's through your Facebook. So once you get into your Facebook, and that's just digital marketing. Once you get into your guerrilla marketing and really like get out here and be face to face with your clients, then you get into your UX design and product placement and all of that type of stuff. Then you really start tweaking stuff. So like within that, I could move the phone a certain way, and that's going to scale your clientele up 30%, just because it's a certain way. So that's more like UX design. And you do all of these type of things, so you really just gotta dive head first into into this realm. You feel me? And really understand what you into and just go to the fundamentals of it.
And see, now, I think that's what it is for me. It's like I don't know, and I don't have, I don't have the actual knowledge or somebody be like, okay, let's, like, you're well endowed, out, like, about this. So it's like, which street to go down. Like, to me, it's like, okay, yeah, you telling me and I'm trying to visualize it, but I'm more of a hands-on person, so I have to go back and I have to research, but I still don't have that knowledge, like, or somebody beside me, like, okay, let's.
Mentorship is very important.
Right, definitely.
Very important. I just reached out to Rick Ross like 2 days ago because I've reached a plateau where it's like I've outgrown my Shark Tank.
Right.
So now I got to take it to another level in that realm. Like, one of my mentors is like right with Farrakhan. So like those are the type of mentors I have and I've reached out for. So you have to reach out big to your mentors. So like whoever you want offline, I'll give you whoever number, I'll give you whatever, and you can reach out to them and then figure it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Tyler Perry, Oprah, anybody.
Definitely, because that's I think that's what it is to me. It's like I'm at a place where it's like I'm standing on a cliff, but it's like, dang, like I don't want to jump off because I don't have no parachute.
Well, you scared?
Yeah, very, very, very much.
See, that's one thing you can't do. Like, if you know Biggs, like in your type of situation, if you know me, I'm gonna go down every street, figure it out, and I'm gonna come back with an army. You feel me? And I'm gonna come out back with an army of information, and then I'm gonna put the team on, and then we're gonna set it up, and we're gonna run the ball. You feel me?
Right.
So you need that person that's gonna jump off the cliff to figure it out, what's gonna go down, and then bring that. That's how America was discovered. They let the slaves go off the ships, figure out what's going on, and then bring back the information.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, you just gotta understand the fundamentals and how people work. So like a big thing for you to study, I would say, is marketing and psychology. Because once you understand how people work and then you understand what marketing is, you can put both together and you'll make your bag. And you can make a bag in any industry after that.
Oh, damn. Well, I heard it here.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how you want to run the ball with the podcasting, because podcasting is definitely another genre or just another industry that is about to take off. And like Charlamagne, he just bought his own network.
Right.
He's the Oprah of podcasting. You feel me? Like, you just got to get in these things early and really understand the fundamentals. And the Spurs is one of my favorite teams, and that's because they taught me fundamentals. Stick to those fundamentals and you'll be all right. So yeah, that's it for real. And then like, so now we talked about the business side of it. How does the money operate for you already?
Yes. Well, honestly, it's everything is coming from me.
Right.
So it's like from my regular job. So, and then of course with the merch is doing good as well. So that's like keeping it
balanced out.
Yeah.
So now you starting to break even.
Right.
And how long you been in business? WaitAGameMinute?
7 months.
That's crazy.
7 months still been.
The first 3 years be the hardest ones. You know what I mean? And for some industries. But yeah, that's not bad. For 7 months, now you breaking even. So just imagine 7 months from now, where it's gonna be at. It's gonna break past that point.
And that's what it is for me. It's like I'm constantly looking ahead, like trying to figure out, like, even though like our calendar now is for all the way up into the 21st of January. So I always, have things that I set for us, and it's like, oh dang, like I got looking forward for the next 3 or 4 months. So it's like it's
that's a good thing. That's a blessing. Some people can't even get for the next 3-4 days what they can't think that far ahead, and they're not supposed to because that's not what they desire.
Right.
And this is something we desire. And you have to be in a boss running. Like, it's so many people that fall underneath us. Like for me, I have at this point roughly about 50 to 75 people under me working for me and doing different things, just different aspects of my life. So like once you have that, and then like you're at the head, and if that head comes crashing, then everything else comes crashing. So you got to make sure. That's why you got to look ahead.
Right.
You got to look a year, 2, 3, 5. What's going on 10? Come back to 5. Come back to 3. Come back to this month. Then go back out. You feel me? Like, and for some people, they'll look at it as you all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna try to throw that stigma on you. They're gonna try to throw you doing too much.
Yeah.
They're gonna throw that on you. If you have one slip up with somebody, they're gonna feel like, oh, my soul don't sit right. This ain't right. You not doing good business. You doing too much.
Right.
So it's just, and you just be like, all right, cool. I appreciate it. I'll just be like, all right, for sure. And some people, they just flat out crazy. You feel me? Like they really think they got it in their head that this thing is together for them, and they'll come out the mouth real sideways and you ignore it. You be like, all right, I appreciate you. Cut off. You
right.
Snap. So it's like, don't never let nobody throw no cap on you. Even with my real estate agent, I told her that I wanted a ranch. She thought I was talking about a ranch style home. I said, no, I want a business. I want a ranch so I can have my farm, and I have some contracts with Purdue that I'm trying to get on my farm.
Right.
But she kept trying to put a cap on me and say, hey, you just want a ranch style home. You just want this.
Right.
You want that. I said, no. And she was like, what's the budget? And I was like, right now, it's really like, I'm just gauging it. It's really no budget to it because I'm trying to make money off of it, and it's a flip. So, yeah, so don't let nobody put no cap on you. They'll put a cap on you for the smallest things in your life, down to somebody in your house telling you what you can't do.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
And I had to, my journey, I had to prove a lot of people wrong, from my mom, everybody. Wow. You feel me? Like, and it wasn't to the point where my mom started helping me with my company, because I had a record label called Major Movement at 18. And she was working for me and helping me with the artists and doing this and doing that. We was coming up with little hustles, and then she started believing. And then she saw where I was trying to take it to what we got now. And me and my partner Hayes, we came together and made something even bigger. And now we seeing things we didn't even see. You feel me? And it just gets to that point, and that's just with consistency and time, and not like being fearless.
And you're exactly right. And it's crazy you said that, because it's like, all from, like a podcast, it's like I've seen and experienced so much in a short period of time. It's like, dang, from a podcast, like I never thought of it. So it was like, honestly, it's like wowing me like all the time. So like sometimes it's like scary, like, oh shit, like Lord have mercy, like, but from a podcast. And it just made me think, like, you like you said, you can't put a cap on it, or you never know what will happen in any situation. And a lot of relationships and stuff develop behind this podcast. And I've seen a lot of stuff that, hurtful stuff, honestly, that I was like, I thought you was my girl. I thought you was my boy. Like, now I'm looking like sideways, like, come on, dude. So, I had a podcast, but ultimately, like, it's been a good thing so far. Yeah,
it's a blessing. I like it. I think you got a dope brand, and it attracted me like immediately. So like, yeah, you doing your thing, and I take my hat off to you on that.
I appreciate
it. And don't stop for nobody until God tell you to stop.
Right.
You feel me? But all right, so before we get out of here, one, I want all my guests to give people, my viewers, a tip of financial advice. So give them one tip of financial advice, whether it's small or big. It don't have to be nothing crazy.
Financial advice. I would say the more money you make, like they say, the more money you make, the more problems. However, you still have to be disciplined. Like, you have to be disciplined, because whether you have $1 or 50, if you're not disciplined with it, it's gonna go at the same rate. So discipline.
Always have discipline with your money. Yeah. That's all. Anybody want to shout out before we get out?
I want to shout out WaitAGameMinute podcast. My girls, Miss Go Getter, Pint, and also Rock. Without those ladies, like, it wouldn't be a WaitAGameMinute.
Yeah. For sure.
And of course, the man upstairs, like.
That's right.
And all those who support
Thank you for coming. Same here. All hearts and minds clear, and everybody have a blessed day. Yeah.